When you look for a tutor online, there's usually a profile video where the tutor introduces themselves and explains their background and experience. They might also include their methodology, and they also may share what other languages they speak. They also provide a profile description that you can read, like where they live, where they've traveled, so you can gather as much information about them beforehand that will help you make a decision to find the right fit for you. As an adult, you probably want to look for someone who has some shared experiences with you. If you're looking for someone to help you with English for work or business English, maybe you want someone who has had some experience working in your field or in a related field. This can be valuable for learning vocabulary and for role-playing certain situations. I remember working with a student once who needed to negotiate a salary change and travel reimbursement. And it was helpful to her that I had some experience working in business. I also had a student who worked in import and export. And he told me when he first started learning English, he wanted to work with someone who had experience working in weather systems because that was important for his work with import and exports. So he could learn the vocabulary and role play different scenarios. Now I work with him to improve his presentation skills. I don't have experience with weather systems. You may also like to find someone who has the same hobbies, the same interests. Maybe this will be helpful for you to practice small talk, or at least for you to feel more comfortable learning with someone who can empathize with you. Empathy is very important in the area of language learning and language acquisition. Someone who can put themselves in your shoes and can relate to your situation is always helpful. They can understand the learning needs you have and how to work with you through any difficulties that come up. So keep that in mind. Read the profile. Look for the things that are important to you and send a message if you're not sure so you can really get to know the tutor. And if you're still not completely sure, schedule a trial lesson. Often the first lesson is free, or with some platforms, it's at least refundable. So you don't lose anything by trying and seeing if you are a match. Finding the right tutor is so critical. Many students feel that the right tutor makes the difference when it comes to learning. If you're going to travel, you might try to find someone who knows the area where you're traveling to. Or you might talk to somebody who has experience traveling also and can help you practice vocabulary and scenarios that are helpful during travel. Other people have situations where they need English in order to brush up before a big presentation, or they are going on a business trip and they want to practice some specific things like small talk. If you have certain learning needs, or if your children have a learning disability or have special needs, some tutors have certifications that you should be able to also confirm on that platform. That way, you know you're working with someone who knows how to work with people that have these needs. If you can't find a tutor that specializes in working with people of certain needs, you can still send a message and ask that tutor if they have experience working with someone with your needs. Often, teachers or tutors have experience working with a wide range of learners. You can look on their profile under Education and Certifications. Often you will find there a list of degrees, certifications, or training that that teacher has received and been credited with. You can also read the reviews that other people have left. If you're working with someone who is working for themselves, maybe on their website, there may be some testimonials. You can also ask if they have references, if this makes you feel more comfortable. Something I want you to keep in mind is that when you're looking for a teacher or tutor, not only are you interviewing that teacher or tutor, they are also interviewing you. The feeling that you are a match has to be mutual. So make sure that you ask that teacher how they feel about teaching you, whether they feel confident in their ability to meet the objective that you have for learning. It's better to get that out of the way at the beginning. I had a student who wanted to practice his speaking skills, and he signed up with the tutor without doing research. He thought all tutors were trained for all things, and he found out the tutor he signed up with was someone who is used to teaching a class, teaching an English lesson. They were not experienced or comfortable with teaching by conversation. And they had to cancel many of the classes because they felt unprepared to meet with that student. That student felt that they wasted a lot of days and weeks. Final thoughts. The first is there are different types of payment plans when it comes to signing up through a platform. I have used two different platforms to take lessons for myself. I am also a language learner. I speak Spanish. I am learning Dutch, and I speak English. For learning Dutch, I have used two different platforms. I will tell you what the differences were, and in my opinion, the pros and cons. One of the platforms required me to sign up for a monthly subscription. That means I had to buy a package of hours. On the pro side, that means that I can make a commitment for a full month and I have my package ready and I can begin to apply it knowing that for this full month, I have my package ready. The con to this is that I had to use all of those classes within the next 30 days. Sometimes you don't have the flexibility to schedule your classes ahead of time. You have to wait and see how your schedule goes. So maybe a subscription system is not the best one for you. Now, the other platform is a platform where I could buy a package of hours. They didn't have to be used within 30 days. That means they don't expire within a certain amount of time. The other option was to buy classes one at a time. By buying classes one at a time, I had the flexibility to book whenever I felt I had the time. I didn't have to commit myself or stress that I needed to use hours before a certain deadline. When you do book classes one at a time, there are two problems that can arise. The first is that those classes might be more expensive per hour. You often get a deal if you buy a package. The second problem is I might not be as consistent because I don't have a schedule set up. I don't have a plan for the month. Consistency is really important with learning, so I just want you to keep that in mind. I specialize in adults and children. I'm certified to work with children. I have been teaching children for a few years. I teach them grammar and vocabulary and pronunciation. I work with adults that are usually at an A2 level. That's the upper beginner level. And I bring them into the intermediate level, and if they want to go on further, into the proficient level. Many of my students are B1 or B2, and I help bring them into B2 and into the proficient level of C1, C2. Most teachers, in my opinion, specialize in at least two levels, maybe because it makes the work much more effective. When you have many students that are around the same level, then you have lesson plans that are quite similar and easier to manage. And you also can leverage the synergy that you have among all your students that are learning at the same level. And you can help each student by gaining knowledge from other students in similar situations. This is kind of the thought, I think, of why it works. So I work with students beginning from A2 level, and I bring them into intermediate level. And the students who are in intermediate level, I bring into the proficient level. I often help business professionals with their business communication skills and small talk, which is very important in business settings. I work with students who would like to improve their communication skills, who would like to expand their vocabulary and improve their pronunciation. I teach 5 days a week, and I teach at different times of the day. You're welcome to contact me if you have an interest in having a trial lesson with me. If you need help with your English, if you are at least A2 level, and if you would like to improve to gain a new level of your English language skills. So, what if you don't know your level? Then I suggest take a proficiency exam. There are several free online English proficiency exams available. You can easily find them by Googling "Test My English Level." There are some English learning platforms that offer proficiency exams. Make sure you go for the free ones because you just want to have an idea at this point. If you go to a paid proficiency exam, usually that means you want to get a certification. And if you're only trying to find your level in order to decide what English teacher you should sign up with, then you probably want to do a free English proficiency exam. That way you know that you're looking for a teacher at the right level for you. Download the free PDF in the description below by signing up for my newsletter. My newsletter is sent out once a month and includes information for free online classes, worksheets, and other activities for helping you improve your English language skills.